Take it away, Nick. Oh, yes, wait a minute, Mr. Postman. Wait, Mr. Postman.
Oh yes, wait a minute, Mr. Postman. Wait, Mr. Postman.
The Marvels, directed by Nia DaCosta, and is the 33rd installment in the MCU overall. The third installment of Phase 5, the third Marvel movie to be released in 2023 after Quantumania and Guardians Volume 3, and is the 2023 sequel to 2019's Captain Marvel. The goat of the MCU movies, don't care what the haters say. Also a sequel to the 2022 Disney Plus show Miss Marvel. So The Marvels tells the story taking place after the events of Captain Marvel and Miss Marvel, after Carol defeated the Kree and sided with the Skrulls. She's got her revenge, where she's destroyed the a supreme intelligence, and Hala, the homeworld of the Kree, is dying and without a son as a result. So Darbine, the current leader of the Kree, vows a vengeance on Carol, and meanwhile the band that's Kamala uh, uh, meanwhile the band that Carol's biggest fan, Kamala Khan, has is also connected to the band on Darbine, and it enables Carol, Kamala, and Monica to switch places whenever they use their powers. So uh, the three women finally form the team, the Marvels, to not only undo what Carol did, to prove she isn't the Annihilator, as the Kree claim her to be, but to stop Darbina from using Earth's sun to restore Hala. Now, the Marvels was inevitably going to be my most anticipated of all the superhero movies to release this year, as I, like Kamala Khan, idolize Captain Marvel, the character, and the movie. That the movie is my Marvel idol, and I so sorry that my review is the latest Marvel's review of them all, but I have been incredibly preoccupied with my personal life, so I finally got to see this movie today, and boy, am I ready to come to its defense. It's made me feel proud inside that I saw this movie and spent my money on it, as the heartbreaking reality is this movie has the worst and lowest box office opening weekend for any Marvel film in history. It's doing even worse than Incredible Hulk from 2008, 15 years ago. I mean, I don't guess it. And the fact that the toxic, misogynistic, female bashing, male supremacist haters of this film are happy that it's failing, that that is messed up. I'm sorry. And after seeing this movie today, I can gladly confirm that all the haters who probably didn't even see this movie and didn't even give it a fair chance of being way too harsh on it. I love the Marvels. Sue me, and this is my favorite MCU sequel now. Yep, I like it better than Iron Man 2. Well, nobody likes Iron Man 2, so that's a no-brainer. Better than For the Dark World, better than Winter Soldier, better than Guardians Volume 2, better than Far From Home. Oh, and better than Age of Ultron too. I mean, I, I mean, is it has it now dethroned the first Captain Marvel as my favorite in the MCU. That is the one thing you all wanted me to confirm when you clicked on this review, and I can say wholeheartedly no. The first Captain Marvel is still my personal favorite because I am biased to 2019 movies. That year may be the single greatest year of my life, and also to me the first Captain Marvel had, well, the advantage with its 90s period setting, and not a single moment in the Marvels was as kick-ass as a Carol just powering up in the third act of the first film and just obliterating the Kree fleet. And not a single moment in the Marvels was as hysterical as Nick Fury going all carpenters on us. Oh yes, wait a minute, Mr. Postman. Yeah, can you imagine if the plot of this movie was just the three ladies and Nick Fury in a band titled The Marvels? More on singing later in this review, as The Marvels is still a uh, uh, tremendously satisfying follow-up to 2019's Captain Marvel, and I mean, it's worth paying the extra money to watch Miss Marvel and WandaVision to do your homework on Disney Plus before going into this movie, because you will have a freaking blast. Even if I would also put Endgame, Infinity War, and Black Panther over this one, boy, is this a top tier, top 5 MCU installment, and my favourite installment of Phase 5. Yet, even more so than Guardians Volume 3, I know, ridiculously unpopular opinion, and like 1% of people will agree with me there. This shows that the MCU still has spark in it even at Phase 5 and is not dying like the toxic haters are making out. Like, the post-Infinity Saga is better than everybody says it is. At least Guardians Volume 3 got appreciation, but and Loki Season 2, but I do think that's a Quantumania and a Secret Invasion, while heavily flawed, weren't by any means the atrocities that everybody was saying, and the exact same goes for the Marvels. 3 years ago, I reacted to Nia DaCosta stepping in as director for this movie, and this is her superhero film debut, and she knocks it out of the park with her direction. I love that she kept this movie smaller scale with a short and sweet runtime. This is currently the shortest MCU installment at just an hour and 45 minutes, so it whizzes by. So you can never complain about the pacing. It's never ever boring, and she made this movie less like a typical superhero team-up movie and more of a personal, intimate one. What about my MCU wife herself, Carol Danvers? Well, Brie Larson continues to do no wrong as Carol, and I follow her YouTube channel still, and I recall when she took a short break from YouTube to film this movie, and it has been some time since we've seen her on the big screen, and to see her just put the suit on again and just unleash her goddess-like powers, it awed me. In fact, it awed the fuck out of me. And there's even more to her character, like how she feels like she went too far, and feels responsible for the Kree's world of Hala crumbling when she gets her revenge for what they did to her in the first movie. You could literally title that flashback Captain Marvel's Revenge. And her social skills have certainly grown since the first film, as she does treat Kamala and Monica like her real family. And Teyonah Parris has never been better as Monica Rambeau. I mean, yeah, Monica sure was an enjoyable part of WandaVision, but here she gets to shine more than ever. And Carol has known her since she was an infant, so the fact that she gets an opportunity to now fight along aside her, she's grown from a girl into a woman. And the ending where we think Monica is lost forever in a different universe. I mean, I've got to say, you're like, who put the onions too close to my eyes? But that post-credit scene where we find out she's perfectly okay and awakens in a hospital with a different version of her mother and Beast from X-Men. I mean, mind-blowing. That's all I'll say. I mean, uh, yeah, that that is uh, the best Marvel post-credit scene of the 2020s decade, and it should have finally win more fans over for the post Infinity Saga MCU to make them theorize and get hyped for the future of Marvel after this. But of the trio of kick-ass women here, guess who turned out to be my favorite? Kamala Khan, played by Imana Varlini, and she's twice as good here as she was in Miss Marvel. I mean, this is her coming of age story. This is her film debut, and yeah, she is instantly adorable. I mean, like me, she is ecstatic when she gets to meet her hero, Carol, and to finally be the Miss Marvel she's always dreamed of. Oh, and her parents and her brother are not sidelined. Thankfully, they get to come on board Nick Fury's ship and always cheer her on when she goes out to do her hero stuff. Kamala does get the most heartfelt and emotional moments in the movie, like when Monica opens up to Carol and her on Carol's ship about all the trauma she went through in WandaVision. Kamala just hugs her. So fuck the people that say this movie's hollow and has nothing new and no heart. So it's has far more heart than I ever anticipated, and Samuel L. Jackson has still got it as Nick Fury, and he just doesn't age in these movies. And Nick may not be involved in the physical action like he was in the first Captain Marvel here, but he does play a delightful host to Kamala's parents. And if you're a cat lover, then be prepared to go at this movie, because Goose the cat gets perfect moments, pun intended, where uh, he literally gives birth to an entire army of kittens, and the kitten sequence where they just swallow everybody on Nick's ship with the memory from the Cats musical playing in the background. That's is well and truly worth the price of admission, trust me. And that scene alone was better than all of the crappy 2019 Cats movie. There are things in the Marvels that you never thought you would ever see in an MCU movie. If you thought Guardians of the Galaxy got bizarre, you haven't seen anything yet. Like, there's an animated sequence of Kamala sketching her in her superhero form with Carol, and it may be my favorite scene of the film. It's exactly the thing I would do, and I'm daydreaming about my favorite heroes, and if I was equal to them with powers. And there's even a singing planet. I am not joking. It's is as fun as it sounds. It's particularly when we find out Carol is married to the prince of that planet. It's like a Disney musical number in a Marvel film or something. I and even though the villain of this film isn't perfect, yeah, Darbine, she's certainly the weakest character in the film. I mean, she's still more interesting than Rohan the Accused. I mean, she's literally the female version of Rohan in a nutshell. And you do get her motivation for her revenge on Carol after what Carol did to her homeworld, but she's just not intimidating in the slightest. To go from the High Inquisitor from Guardians Volume 3 to Darbine was, yeah, kind of a letdown in the villain department, but you don't go and see this movie for the villain. You see it for these three women and their chemistry, which is so heartfelt. The action sequences, I've gotta say, were some of the most inventive and cleverly crafted in the MCU. The switching bodies action scene, I don't think that's ever been done before, but it's certainly kept me glued to the screen and worried sick for these three ladies' well-being. So props to the visual effects artists for that, and the battle on the Singing Planet, that felt like the final battle, but it's not. That one is not as long as you would think it would be, but it's probably the biggest one in scale in the film. And Kamala gets to fight without her band with a badass ribbon, and the final fights between the team and Darby right before the emotional ending. I mean, yeah, that does subvert your expectations. It makes you think that Darbine is going to agree with what Carol is going to do and restore the Kree's son, and then she threatens Kamala, which had me gasping. And even the soundtrack of this movie does speak volumes. The best parts of the soundtrack are, of course, the songs on the Singing Planets, which sound more harmonious than you would find in most Marvel films. So overall, the Marvels doesn't deserve all the toxic haze. It is actually great. Please give this movie as much money as possible. It deserves your money. And if this is the last time we see Brie Larson in the MCU, I understand why she'd want to quit after all the unnecessary hate and backlash the fans have given her. Bless you for all the joy you have brought to this franchise, and I will never forget you as Carol Danvers. Though I wouldn't even say this is my favourite superhero movie of the year. For me, Across the Spider-Verse still holds that title, and I even love The Flash just slightly more, and maybe Shazam: Fury of the Gods, but the Marvels is easily one of the better ones.
I give the Marvels 5 stars out of 5. Best Marvel sequel ever.
So I know you're all thinking I'm overhyping this movie a little, but nothing wrong with spreading positivity instead of negativity about a movie that's being unfairly hated on before it's even been released. And I just wanted to reassure Brie Larson and Nia DaCosta that making this movie wasn't in vain, and they didn't make it for nothing, as they at least have some satisfied customers. Well, I love you guys. Thank you all for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. And what are your thoughts on the Marvels? And are you on my side and agree it is vastly underrated and the best of the Phase 5 of MCU movies? Please comment and let me know. Please like this video and subscribe. Please follow on Twitter and on Instagram. And I'll see you all next time when I may rank the 33 MCU movies, as it is about time I updated that ranking, and I may rank the Indiana Jones movies also. I can't believe it. I haven't thought of that. And remember, movies are us. Bye, guys.